You are listening to the BowhunterPlanet podcast, Season 6. The podcast is supported by Scent Crusher, Scent Off, Game On, Tinks, Cat Work Truck, Victory Archery, Thorn Broadheads, Shadow Hunter Blinds, COBRA Archery, Burris, HHA Sports and HHA USA, Reveal Cellular Cameras, and Deer Camp Coffee. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to the BowhunterPlanet podcast. Myself, as always, Tim Mazzarana, along with Dave Thomas. Tonight we got special guest Byron from Convergent Hunting Solutions, convergenthunting.com. Byron, how's it going tonight, man?
Oh, it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Good. It's nice to meet you. Took a little bit of a look at your products online, wanted to have a conversation around it. You know, we don't do a lot of conversations on this podcast around predator hunting and the different things that are involved with that, but you guys have some pretty unique products when it comes to that side of it, and especially the call side of it. Can you give us a little background of the company and what you guys do?
Sure. We're a relatively new company, compared to our competitors. We started kind of with a clean slate where a lot of these guys kind of took what was out there and kind of tried to make it better. We started from scratch with no, what we wanted to do, we knew we were going to have to compete on already kind of a full market. So what we started with was more power audio. If you know anything about audio, it starts with power. When I was a kid, I'm 57, so I'm dating myself. But when I was a kid, everybody had boosters on their stereos and better speakers, and that's how you got the superior audio. So what we do versus our competition all uses AA batteries. We start out with a 3.7 volt battery, which is twice as much. A AA battery only puts out 1.5 volts. So back again to audio, if you know anything about audio, it takes a little bit of power to drive a good speaker. So we've got much more power and a much better speaker. And that's the heart and soul of our system. So if you're competing out there against all these other guys in these ears of these predators, there's a lot of people have electronic calls out there, but our superior sound quality really puts us ahead of them by quite a while.
And
Awesome.
What kind of distance are we talking for these type of things?
So distance as far as how far you put the electronic call away from you?
No, how far will an animal hear it far out? Like, is there a distance that you guys think is
if you go to our website, we called a coyote in and actually have video of it. We were in northern Nevada in windy conditions, which it gets very windy up there. We called a coyote from over a mile away.
Wow.
To the wind.
Oh,
yes. So yeah,
that's cool.
Predators have articulating ears, which they can, like radars. So their hearing is not only good, but they can pinpoint that sound from quite a distance. So the volume is one thing, the quality of the sound is another. So you can call coyotes from a long way, but the closer they get, you're able to discern, a high quality sound versus a poor quality sound. So a lot of our competition can call coyotes, but our coyotes finish out much closer because of the quality of the sound.
I need to get one of these for my house, so maybe my kids actually hear me when I tell them to clean their room.
Sure. We have guys, just give you an idea, we have guys that use our product at tailgate parties. The sound quality is that good.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's actually what I wanted to kind of touch on. So this, there's some calls on the market that come with their own remotes that you can only play the sounds that are programmed into the product.
Sure.
Yours is it Bluetooth? Is that what it is? So you basically can play any sound from your phone?
Sure. Anything that's on your phone, you can play it through there, but think of it as a Bluetooth speaker on steroids. Standard Bluetooth only works to about 30 feet. Ours works to 300 feet.
That's a huge difference.
So we have an antenna and a booster on there that gets a much better range. And another is our sounds are created. I record most of our sounds, and I've been doing this for 40 something years, been recording sounds for probably 30 of those. And so we start with high-end recordings, and I edit them and tweak them to our system. So again, back to the sound quality, when you start turning that volume up, if you'll notice, a lot of systems will start to distort as you get louder. Ours do.
Right.
Ours, the louder you turn it, it stays just as clean and clear.
Awesome.
So
when you say your own sounds, is that you have your own app for that, or how does that work?
we have five, excuse me, we have 5 different apps for different species, and you have to check with your local game laws and stuff. But here in Texas, where I'm at, we can use electronics for deer, turkey, and during our certain seasons for even goose. So we have a predator, a wild hog app, a deer app, and a snow goose and crow app. So we have 5 different apps.
Cool.
Yeah, and you can find those on our website or Google Play or you know, any of the app stores. You download the app, and there's several features on that app. We actually have a manufacturer phone mount that attaches your phone to your rifle. That way you're not holding your phone. You can actually hold your gun and shoot. So you're not holding your phone and interfering when you're shooting. But actually in that app, there's also a feature where you can access the camera on your phone and
Nice.
you can film anything that's coming to the call. So
Oh, really?
wanna
So in the
point out-
app, you can look at the you can record at the same. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Awesome.
there's some other features, like some people want to know how long they've been sitting on stand. So we've got a timer button, so you can tell how long you've been on stand or playing a particular sound. We also have a night mode to where you can, you know, at night, just turn your screen down and it's kind of grayed out so you can still access it. But even in your video mode, you can still access your favorite sounds and the volume. And we also have an integrated decoy, which is kind of unique to our system. It's not an afterthought that's attached to the outside of the call. It's actually built into the system. And
Wow.
well thought out. Like I said, I've been doing this longer than I care to say.
Yeah.
And
I want to point out, Tim, the size of it. So it's 10 inches closed. So when it's like in this position, but when you open it, it looks like it moves out to 16, then 23 with the decoy. But I just want to show with Melissa here how it's actually a nice size. Like it's a good size
Sure.
item. And that's why it has to probably project such good audio. I mean, it's a decent size. At first, when I saw it, I thought it was literally really small. That's why I asked the question, how far can it really go? But this is like a lot larger than I thought. So this is great. This looks really cool to me.
That is, and I'd imagine just looking at the design, it's projecting 360 degrees too, right? So when you talk about those cone mics that you were talking about, those are sometimes really directional in where that sound goes.
yeah, and it's not 360. It is forcing the sound out from you.
Okay. No, all right. So you're putting it in front of, okay, that makes sense, because you're putting it in front of you and then blasting out.
Yeah.
I got you.
Because
That makes
you really
sense.
don't want to call coyotes from behind you.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. That's a great point.
But yeah, the speakers are actually facing away from you. And if you'll notice how it's designed, I noticed you're playing the video, it collapses down to where it's more compact and it kind of protects it. And so it's more portable and packable. And once you get into the field, you expand it out and it locks up and it gets that speaker up off the ground. So that transmits the sound out better, but it also gets that decoy up where a predator can see it very well. So
That's cool.
Weatherproof?
extremely weatherproof. We have a waterproof film over the speakers. It's not waterproof, it's weatherproof. I've used mine in very inclement conditions, snow, rain, sleet. And I mean, as long as you don't throw it in the swimming pool or bathtub, you're fine. You know, if it gets rained on, just open it up, let it air out, and it'll be fine.
Cool. What about like the battery wise, right? We're rechargeable, I have to imagine.
It is.
Okay.
And that's another thing that we kind of pride ourselves versus our competition. With our competition, you have to buy batteries at the you leave or you don't have a call. Our batteries come included in our system and they are rechargeable. The battery life is, if you play it constant at full volume with the decoy going, it's over 10 hours.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of time.
If you're calling, and using it as a call, you can have a 3 or 4 day weekend and never charge it. So of course you're not playing at full volume all the time either. So, but yeah, the battery everything on it's overbuilt as far as the internal components.
Very
That's
cool.
really cool. Really cool. It looks like you guys have another one called the Sidewinder. It's a weapon mounted one.
Yes.
And that's, I'm assuming, smaller distance with that one. It looks a lot smaller. Or is it really big?
Our design, when we first started to come up with that, that's kind of our phone mount with a speaker on the front. And I was hunting one day. If you'll notice our phone mount that holds just the phone, I thought, man, if we could put a speaker on the front of that. And we kind of had an idea, that we were going to have to give up some quality and audio and volume. And we were blown away. And this is, you hear this a lot in the industry, it's a game changer or all that. You have to listen to this thing to appreciate it. I mean, it is incredible. It's almost the same amount of volume as the big speaker. There's an amount of technology in that product, and it weighs less than your cell phone. It looks kind of bulky and gawky sitting out there, but once you put it on, kind of get used to it, you don't even know it's there. But it plugs direct to your call. If you'll notice, a Picatinny rail on it, so it'll hook to any Picatinny rail that most guys are using an AR-15, so it hooks right to your side of your rifle. But we have a lot of guys that are hog hunting that are putting a Picatinny rail on their tripods, and hunting at night with thermal, and they just hook the Sidewinder to their tripod. And so that's been working really well for a bunch of guys. But it's direct connect, it's not Bluetooth, so you have to connect it directly to.
Okay.
How big does it actually measure?
It's like 3.5 by 3.5.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's really compact.
Small. 3 by 3 by 4 is dimensions right there. I see on the screen. It's 9.6 ounces with battery. But when I like to have people turn it on with me present, and their eyes always light up because it's like, oh, holy heck! I can't believe all that sounds coming out in music.
This 300-foot thing's really impressive, honestly. Like, that's really far.
That is very impressive.
When I see that, I think of my Bluetooth speaker at home, and I walk away from a room to room, and it cuts out if I'm literally 30 feet away. You know what I mean? Like, that 300, that's insane. I could put that like in the woods behind my house and still play it from my room.
Sure. Let me say something about the 300 feet. That's line of sight.
Yeah,
right.
That's awesome.
Obviously, you do not want to put that call where you can't see it, because if something comes all the way to the call, it didn't do you any good to call it in. But we typically use those calls about 30 to 40 yards away.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I tell people, if you put it 300 feet out, then you have to walk 300 feet back to your position. And when you get through calling, you have to walk 300 feet out and then 300 feet back. So
I look at this as a thing you should sell. I think you should like recolor it, and you should sell it as a trick item for like people play tricks on people. Because like, seriously, you could hide this anywhere and like play something like, wow, it's like a bear out there or something. Those words.
that has been done quite a few times.
There's going to be some good. You can turn the hunt camp into a tailgate party afterwards, right?
You know what I would do with this? I would put it right next to No Boom's blind, and I would do random styles. Like, and I'd be in my blind, go, "What's going on over there?" And I play with these random like growling and stuff.
Well, with that kind of battery life, we could sneak out there, put it out there, and then when he goes out the next morning, that would be amazing.
My gosh. In the dark too.
So funny.
It does have a battery saver mode, so after 3 hours it'll turn itself off. So yeah,
I got you. Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
You could do that. That way, if the call accidentally came on in your pack or in your toolbox or whatever, after the call, it wouldn't be dead. So
that's cool. I love the design with the name, right? I mean, it's the bullet and it looks like a bullet. I think that's pretty cool.
It's excellent.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a cool product. Honestly, I think it's not. I don't even think it's some people might think that seems like a lot of money, but I actually don't, because I've
No.
seen the ones that are in this range, and they're definitely in these price points, if not higher in some cases. So
Oh, absolutely. For
love
what
it.
you get, in our system versus others, we're about half price of some that are not as don't have the quality of sound as ours. Here's another thing. Most of our competitors are made in China or other countries. Our product is made in the USA.
There we go. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And where are you guys based out of Texas, or what area?
The company is in Euless, Texas, and
Nice.
fantastic people.
Now, were you the inventor of this?
I was. Me and another guy kind of got our heads together and started it, and we actually ended up selling it to the manufacturer. We had a manufacturer, and their engineers help us to put it all together, and then we actually ended up selling it to the manufacturer. So, which was really good for the company as well as consumers, because we cut one of the middlemen out. So, I mean, you deal directly with the manufacturer. So, which is
Nice.
also kind of a, not common in our industry.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. So, I mean, what was it that, are you an audio guy by nature, or what kind of, how did you come up with the idea? Like, are you a predator hunter and you just saw a need and there was just something you knew you could do it better?
I'm a predator hunter by heart. I was predator hunting today. I was actually going to come home and get cleaned and changed, but we actually were hunting this evening. And so I'm always trying to come up with a better mousetrap. And so that was how, just scratching my head, trying to make it better. And so there's a lot of calls out there, and they all lacked something, so I thought, well, if I could build this, how would I build it? And then it just grew from there.
Yeah, that's cool. I love the design too.
Thank you.
I said, that's really, really cool design. So, the predator hunting thing, I gotta be honest, I haven't done a lot of it. I don't think Dave's done a lot of it either. So just from that angle of it, what's like the number one mistake that you can make, like for a newbie? What's the number one mistake that you see most common in predator hunting?
Number one, so the guys watch videos of guys calling in predators, and they just assume it's easy. They saw the guy just go put the call out, turn it on, the guy comes running up, they shoot it. There's a lot. I tell people, everything you do before you turn the call on is way more important than anything you do after you turn the call on. So the number one mistake I would say guys make is the wind. Predators, most especially coyotes, have a long nose, just like a deer, and highly, efficient noses. And so they live by that nose. And when they come to that prey sound, a lot of times they'll try to get downwind of it. And if they do, you'll never see them, or they'll booger out where you don't get a shot. So keep the wind in your favor, number one. Number two is get to a vantage point to where you can see him when he actually responds. So you need a good ambush spot, and then number three probably is, and all these are probably equally as important, is be quiet and get there. Because if he knows you're there before you start to blow the call, he's not coming. And number three is be still, or four is be still. Once you turn that call on, even though that call may be 30 or 40 yards away from you, he's coming in with heightened, everything is, is heightened. And so he's looking for something moving. He's also near that. So just be still and let him finish out at that call. And that's what's so neat about it being remote like that. His focus is on that call and not you. So the electronics have really changed the game as far as being able to get by with a little more movement. But those are, I would say, those mistakes are the most common.
That movement makes a lot of sense, because you think about it. You guys have, is that tail that you guys have, is that like, is it just wind movement that moves that, or is that motorized?
No, it's motor operated, and
okay, that's what I figured. But that's exact. You see that out there, and people use it because it's visual, right? And so that talking about motion and staying still makes a ton of sense, because you're trying to use visual to say hi to the coyote and bring them in, right? So if you're moving around, he's already looking. That's the other huge sense that they have. So Yeah, I mean, you pointed out like that, it makes a lot of sense. So now do you
Just
sit
depends-
out in the open a lot, or do you like put up a ground blind or anything like that?
We run and gun everywhere. I mean, what we do is we try to make several stands through a day. And so we try to get the wind in our favor. We try to find a place that's somewhat open, but has something that we can get against that breaks our outline up.
Yep.
I'll put the call out in front of me, back to the decoys and stuff like that. The coyote has three main defenses. I say coyote, fox, bobcat, whatever you're trying to call. Is their eyes, ears, or their nose. So I'll set that call out where he can see it, but then I'll kind of get up in some brush that kind of can, cover, breaks my outline up and try to draw him out. So his eyes, first thing he hears it, and then he's going to get to a point where he thinks he should be able to see it. And then he sees that decoy. And a lot of times when he can hear it and see it, when the sound's high quality and he sees something moving, a lot of times he won't go to his nose. He'll just get rid of that third, his nose. And so he won't try to get downwind of you. So we don't get in blinds very much at all because I'm going to be there 15, 20 minutes.
And then move on.
I'm going to move. Right.
So what do you do? So how do you determine what sound you're going to play? Like, is there one that's a go-to that just like kind of works the best? Or is it the situation dependent? Or is it kind of like fishing lures, right? Where it's you try one and the perch are hitting red today, so we're just going to use red type of deal.
I use that analogy a lot, and you wouldn't go fishing with just a spinner bait. You're going to have a plug, a soft plastic, a spinner bait, and all that. And those sounds are that same way. Some will have a different cadence, some will have a different pitch, and so I'll usually start out with a cottontail. I like the rabbits, and the reason I like the rabbits, they're widespread all over the country. No self-respecting coyote is scared of a rabbit. And so I'll play the rabbits, and they're a loud sound. So it carries a long way. And so I'll start with a cottontail. Number one is probably my favorite sound that we have. I play it first, and then I'll go to a baby raspy is a different pitch, a higher pitch and a little more raspy. And that's kind of my spinner bait. And if I don't get a bite on that, after about 3 minutes, I'll go to, I've got a sound called Byron's Go-To, which is
cool.
A favorite. It's one of my go-to sounds. And so somehow it just got named that. But, and then, if I'm in a place where there's a lot of jackrabbits, or even sometimes I'll use the jackrabbit sound where there's no jackrabbits. So, as a matter of fact, I've called jackals in Africa using cottontails and jackrabbits recorded here. Called coyotes in Arizona using blackback jackal sounds. And so you're just trying to find, all of our sounds are recorded with a lot of emotional content. And you try to put that terror and fear of that animal, screaming. And so certain coyotes will respond better to, like you said, like a fish. If he doesn't like this, and I think sometimes switching those sounds may, curiosity. And then those are your prey sounds. Certain times of the year we'll use coyote vocals, and we're trying out some new sounds now that with some cat vocals and stuff that are working really well. So mating sounds for bobcats. And so, but primarily prey sounds are your bread and butter sound.
So I know it's different for each sound that you're playing, but how often are you replaying a sound? Like you're not putting it on a constant loop where it's just constant sound, are you?
Yes. And that's another common mistake people make. And I always give the analogy, let's say that coyote is 500-600 yards out there. And the old adage was to say, with hand calls, was to blow 2 minutes and then wait 3 minutes, blow 2 minutes. So let's say that coyote's out there 600 yards. You blow it for 2 minutes and he makes the decision to come, and then it stops and he's not there yet. So now you've got his wheels turning. He's thinking, did Fred, my other buddy, get him? Or did he go this way? Did he go that way? So you've got his wheels turning. And so he can't hear it. He certainly can't see it yet. So he's going to go to that downwind side. So what we found by playing constant sounds, it keeps them keyed in on that sound and coming to the call. And he's not thinking so much. He's just responding to that sound. people will tell you that a rabbit can't scream for 15 minutes. You and I know that. A coyote does not reason that way. He doesn't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So just keep them playing constant. We never turn them. Now I'll turn it down and up and some, you know, but usually I'll just play it about medium volume and have something coming. We just leave it playing. If I don't have to see something in 2 or 3 minutes, I'll change to a different sound.
Now, when you do see something though, do you then stop or slow it down?
I don't want anything to change.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm asking because, like I said, we haven't done a lot of it, and I've made every mistake that you're talking about right now. That's probably
if you've got room to work with, and he's coming in, you kind of got him where you want him. You know, you can stop it and see if that makes him pause for a standing shot. But most of the time, what we do when we have something coming, especially a coyote, if he's coming in pretty hard, when he gets to where I want him, I'll just simply, if he's real close, I'll just squeak at him like that. He'll stop and look at me, and he has to stop to get his focus, and then I'll shoot him. If he's going pretty hard, I'll just woof like that, and he'll throw on his brakes and look. But you got to be ready. You have to shoot.
Yeah.
So, but I typically don't kill the call. I'll let them come on. I like to get them on top of the call. So that's just my thing. And you know, in the East, and not even just in the East, I mean, in the West, there's a lot of guys shotgunning, you know, because they come so hard, you know, I mean, that's a deal to a predator hunters. We like to call them in close. And so shotguns are overlooked by a lot, especially new predator hunters. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't have anything to do with our calls, but most guys are over magnified on their scopes. You know, we like a lower magnification scope, 2-3 power scope on the low end, and keep it, because you're trying to find a moving animal close generally.
Yeah, I watch a lot of stuff online, obviously, and the guys that are doing like 300-400 yard shots with a thermal, I'm just like, there's no way I could probably ever train to do something like that. Those are just incredible types of shots.
We do a lot of thermal hunting.
That's cool.
We're going to do some thermal hunting, but one thing I want to neglect to talk about is calling hogs. Calling hogs has been one of the, it's revolutionary. A lot of people say, "Oh, can you call?"
I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
Right. Well, I would encourage you to Google it or look on YouTube about calling hogs.
Now, you're not talking about like suey, nothing like that.
We're talking about with the bullet HP. We have a significant portion of our business now is calling hogs. It's really taken off.
Really?
And we have some incredible sounds and the speakers. I mean, the hog sounds are kind of hard to reproduce, almost impossible for other systems, but we have a high frequency response with our speakers. So it'll make the high pitched squeals and the low guttural grunts at the same time. But if you just think about it, hogs are a very social animal. They're very vocal and they're territorial. So, I mean, they have a lot to say to each other. And being that they're territorial and as well as social, they're absolutely the easiest thing I've ever called. And what's neat about them is they taste much better than a coyote. And so, yeah, and they come.
Yeah, for sure.
And they come in groups. I mean, you're able to have, you know, we've caught as many as 40 hogs at one time.
Wow.
We've got some boar specific sounds for calling big boars and stuff. And they'll come in all mad because it's another boar there. And so they're, like I said, they're very vocal and they're very social, but you can't take any shortcuts with the hogs either because they have that long nose. You have to be aware of their sense of smell. So, but the hogs, for your listeners, man, if you've never called in a hog, I mean, having come in all bristled up, it's addictive.
There's nothing like pissing off a hog before you see him, right?
Right.
we were just talking. We just got off a live show a little while ago, and somebody was asking us about the scariest hunt that we've been on, and it was 2 different hunts that we were talking about, but both of them involved hogs. Because those things are nasty, man.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they'll do some damage, and I've seen some crazy footage online too. But I had one that I shot that immediately turned, looked right at me, and then started charging me. And it was only probably about, I don't know, maybe 35-40 yards when I shot it, because I was shooting it with a bow. And I'm just sitting there going, Well, there's really nothing I can do but try and block him. I can't reload, there's no time to reload or anything like that. And right at about 5 feet in front of me, he ended up turning and going a different direction, but I was sweating bullets there for a minute.
Oh yeah.
And then he went about 30 yards and passed out. So that's always fun though. So so is you do a lot of hog hunting, you do a lot of predator hunting. What's your favorite?
Oh, I was afraid somebody asked me that. I'll tell you this, I've called coyotes, and that's my passion is predator, coyotes and bobcats and fox. When I started calling hogs, it almost ruined my predator hunting because it was just something new. And it doesn't matter. I love calling anything. I like calling ducks, turkey, elk, whatever. But the calling the hogs deal has been, it's just new and something different and a lot of fun. And you have a lot of success with it. I mean, in these months coming up, when nobody's hunting, hunting season's over, and the hogs, if you've got hogs, the hotter it gets, they'll be concentrated around water. And so about where they're going to be, but it's generally so thick in there. What I like to do now is when it gets warm is I'll slip into where those water sources are, and there'll be wallows in there. And instead of going in there and trying to slip in and shoot them, I'll get set up outside of that
and pull them out,
call them out to me. And boy, that's pretty fun. There's nothing like having a coyote just blazing in, or a bobcat slinking in, or hogs coming. I love it all. I wouldn't pick other.
It is cool. There's this one. I mean, bobcats are just cool, to watch. In general, just the way they kind of, like you said, they slink right in. And there's one time I'm hunting up at our hunt camp, and done with the hunt for the day, didn't get anything. I'm walking back in, and I don't know why, but I looked over my shoulder as I'm walking out, and literally 30 yards behind me, there's this bobcat walking up my trail that I just left.
Yeah.
And he looks up at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's just staring at me. And I didn't turn or anything like that. I see him, and he's looking at me, and he's not scared at all. He's just sitting there like, yeah, I smell you, and so I do end up turning around, and then all of a sudden, like, he waits a minute, and like, sounds like a minute, it's probably like 3 seconds, and then kind of runs off. But I've never had a bobcat trail me before, but that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
That was interesting.
So the crow calls, what are you using those for? Is that just kind of a cottontail type of, the predators hear the crows, they think there's
no, you can't
type of deal?
You can kind of add the crows if you're calling predators as a kind of a confidence deal, to get the coyotes thinking there's something they're missing there.
Yeah.
But primarily the crow sounds, there's a large bunch of people that like to call crows. Now you have to be careful with the game laws in your state, make sure it's legal.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I don't think in our state it is. So I've never heard of crow calling. I thought
most places it is. If crows can get in large numbers and be a nuisance, and especially pecans and crops and stuff like that. So, but calling crows is a lot of fun. So we had a lot of requests for that app, and so we recorded some really good crow sounds. And the snow goose, during the management season, or I forget what they actually call it, but there's a season after, I think it's in March, that where you can actually take the plug out of your shotgun and use electronic calls to call those snow geese. And so we added the snow geese and the crow app together as one app for those guys, and it works out very well.
Well, that sounds really fun, man. And I mean, just the way it's built, you can spend as much money as what this costs on a game call that is just a game call, and that's all it is. And you can only play their sounds that are programmed into it. You do not have the versatility, the battery life, the range, and everything that you've kind of solved with this one product. So kudos to you, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Love it.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Cool. I'm trying to look up the game laws here in Michigan, Tim.
Yeah, I don't think crow's on the list there. I might be mistaken. It might be a small game, but I don't think it is. So talk to us about you make not only the electronic calls, but you make mouth calls too, right?
Pen calls, yes, sir.
Yeah.
They're all predator calls, and back to the analogy you used with the fishing lures. We make 4 different hand calls, actually 5 different hand calls. We make a closed reed call, which has a reed inside, internal reed. It's very easy to blow. We make that in both jackrabbit and cottontail. The rabbit is a little coarse. And then we make a bite call that creates the same kind of distress sound, but in a little different way. So it gives you that different pitch and tone. And then we make an open reed call. And there's 2 versions of that. There's the short regular predator open reed call, and then there's a howler, which is a longer version of that, that creates your big cow vocals, howls and cow vocals. And I have all those on my lanyard at one time, and I tell people the same thing. This is my tackle box. I've got my spinner bait, my plug, and all out there, because you never know what you might need or what's going to strike a chord with that particular predator. So there's a good friend of mine, Kerry Carver. Kerry is one of the most renowned custom call builders there are on the planet as far as predator calls are concerned. And Kerry and I have hunted together for years, and we've come up with a design. It's really easy to blow. If you're a professional predator hunter like I am, or Kerry is, I mean, if you're having to blow a call all the time, you have to have something that's easy to blow. And the benefit to that is, as a new guy that's starting out, it's easy for him to blow as well. So we've created a reed system in those that you don't have to use as much air to get the amount of volume, and you're not.
Good. Yeah.
And so, and they're also very intuitive, real easy. Now, this is a funny story, but people are intimidated about making the wrong sound on a call, and you can practice if you want. But rabbits don't get the chance to practice. They got one shot at it, and they usually sound horrible. So basically, the more horrible you sound on that call, the better.
I'm in a good spot then.
Yeah. Don't be intimidated. Just get in it and try to sound god awful, because that's what it sounds like when he's dying. So yeah, and our calls are real easy to sound awful on. They sound fantastic to a cow.
Right.
So, and they're easy to blow. So.
That's awesome. Somebody's looking for your products. Where can they find you? Are you direct to consumer only online, or
we are in a few stores? Of course, the online stuff, we've kind of been fighting that, people that were, trying to cheat the system. So we've pretty much gone to direct consumer. And if you want our product, you can't get it any cheaper, or it's readily available on our website, convergenthunting.com. That's where. And if you find a store somewhere, or if you're a store owner and want to carry it, we'd be glad for you too. But we kind of stayed away from it. You can get it on Amazon as well. We supply it to Amazon. So.
Oh, good. All right, good. And when they buy it from Amazon, they're buying it from you?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's not from a third party somewhere that takes your order and then orders it from us, and it's 2 weeks before you get it. If we get the Amazon order, it goes from our office.
That's good to know, and that's a great way, because I don't know anybody that isn't on Amazon nowadays,
No kidding.
Well, awesome, man. You got some great products out there. Predator's been a big thing. We need to talk about it more on this show, and I love the insight that you gave us, not only on your products, but just you as a predator hunter and certain tips like that. We'll have to have you back on, I think, at some point to dive a little bit more into that. But predator is a big thing. It's becoming bigger. We hear a lot more people talking about it in the industry, and it's like we were talking about. It's one of those things like, you have your deer season, your turkey season, but in those down times where you're hunting those hogs and that kind of thing, I mean, that's what we kind of look at too, is what can we do now, right? And predator hunting, at least in Michigan. And again, you got to check your local regulations and everything like that. Here in Michigan, coyotes open all year round.
Sure, and I've hunted Michigan quite a bit, actually. So, the coyote hunting up there is fantastic. So.
Yeah, we got some big boys up here too.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, this time of year is your best time to get out there too, and remove that predator population, or as many as you can, because those deer are about to start fawning. So
that makes sense.
Dead deer don't get to be 5.5-year-old wall hangers.
That makes sense.
So, if you can remove the coyotes, it'll sure help your deer and turkey population and everything else. And you're not going to kill them all, so you're not going to hurt them. You're not going to hurt the population, but you can certainly help a lot of deer out.
Yeah, there's so many up here in Michigan. I mean, it makes sense they opened up all year round quite a few years ago, but I mean, we live in the suburbs of Detroit, right? So it's city. It's not like I'm sitting on at least anywhere near 5 acres near my house.
Right.
Where I live, my backyard is probably 100 feet deep type of deal. And we see coyotes running around this time of year, super active, breeding season, that kind of thing, even in the city. So, I mean, they are everywhere. Unfortunately, we can't shoot them in the city, but, I get it. You don't want to shoot somebody else in the process. So,
No. No, not at all.
I'll live with that. But Byron, awesome talking to you. Really cool product. It looks absolute quality. Price is right for what you're getting for sure. I mean, as we talked about, just the versatility of what it is, the powerful, the battery, the recharge, weather resistant, all of that kind of stuff. Great stuff, man. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our customer service is top notch too. So if you have any issue with our product, you let us know. We'll fix it, make it right.
Awesome. That's convergenthunting.com. Once again, go check them out. And Byron, again, thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much.
The BowhunterPlanet podcast would like to thank our outdoor partners for their support. It's because of these companies we can keep this show educating, entertaining, and growing the archery heritage. Please check out these partners' links in the description of this podcast.